We finally have an actual update on the Kuminga situation via ESPN's Anthony Slater. You can go check out the whole article over there. But to me, I think the tagline of this deep article is, do you want to be here? Do you even want me here? That's a conversation that Lacob had with Kuminga during these negotiations, right? And that's like the crux of it. It's like he doesn't feel wanted. And the Warriors, do you want it, right? And in the report that trickled out over the weekend first from Anthony Slater, it was just like a quick pop-up on ESPN, was that the Warrior veteran players are concerned about Kuminga's buy-in if he comes back on the qualifying offer. And it's like, yeah, no kidding, right? With this window, right? There's such a small window that the Warriors are operating in with Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond. You can't have even half of a season of someone being disruptive in a locker room that relies heavily on chemistry. Let me tell you guys about Vuori. It is a clothing brand designed for movement and built for life. It's inspired by coastal California. I'm a coastal California kid, so that fits, but it's made with intention, from the fit to the fabric. And they sent me a performance training pack where I got this Ponto Performance Crew right here, fit, right? I got a Strato Tech Tee, which might be the most comfortable t-shirt I've ever worn, and then the Sunday Performance joggers. And right away, when you open up the packaging, I got this hat. Everything just fits right. Everything's cut right? And it feels good when you put it on. But what I was really impressed with was the light gray performance joggers. When I initially got them, I was like, can I wear these in the gym, fellas? Y'all know the light gray sweats in the gym, you start getting sweat stains. And while it felt light and I had all sorts of mobility and movement in it, I didn't get those. I don't know what type of magic sauce is in these materials, man, but I was super impressed with it. And then I was able to go from the gym to the store, back to my desk to the office. It allowed for my versatile hybrid lifestyle of training, gym, work, desk. I could bounce from one activity to the next and be comfortable and look good in all of those settings. And so not only do I want to thank Vuori for sending me the performance package, but for sponsoring today's video. And if you are interested in truly elite fitting, versatile clothing, head to vuoriclothing.com. You can scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Let's get to the numbers of it, though, because there is a new deal that the Warriors have offered Kuminga. It is 3 years, $75 million with a team option, which would guarantee him $48.3 million, right? But as we know, the stalemate is the team option, because it was also reported in the same article that there was an offer from Golden State. The only offer without the option on it was 3 for 54. Cutting that down to like 18, that's just significantly different. So as we've all suspected, it's this option thing, right? And word is Kuminga and his agent, what they want is a 1-year super deal. Instead of taking the qualifying where there's no trade clause, we'll do a 1-year, pay us, and then you can trade us type of thing, right? What that number would be, you'd have to imagine is going to be between 25 and 30. But I think that there were several other things of note in this article. Again, go check it out on ESPN. Anthony Slater, our guy, right? Our beat writer for so long with Dub Nation. Lacob, this is another tidbit that, maybe people assumed during that draft. He's connecting the dots to basically Lacob does want him here, right? But not everyone feels that way within the organization. And while Joe is the owner, he's not running a dictatorship. Right? He's smart enough to know that there has to be, an agreement amongst the powers that be. But it was stated in the article that during that draft, Lacob pushed for Kuminga while others wanted Franz Wagner. So there's that, right? Then it was also stated in the deal that they had on the table for Alex Caruso, who was a Bull at the time. Lacob wasn't having it. So Lacob clearly in that conversation, do you want to be here? Do you want me? Lacob wants him here. It's convincing everyone else. And at this point, the trust seems to be gone, right? But it sounds like, honestly, Kuminga and his camp want Lacob to ensure him, step in and be no, he's playing 30 minutes a night in closing games. I'm the owner and that's what's going to happen. And again, Joe, they said, he can be heavy-handed with his opinions. He's not forcing the issue. There has to be an agreement amongst Kerr and Dunleavy, everybody, right? He's not dumb. But Kuminga, it seems like he wants that. Here, my question, I'll be honest, before this came out and we're waiting, I was thinking, like, is Kuminga holding us hostage here? He knows. The other thing that we've heard last week was Al Horford, Melton, these guys are quietly asking for clarity on when can we show up and get this done and get working towards the season, right? And I'm like, is Kuminga out of spite, just kind of holding everything hostage here? Because he's upset? Like, oh, you ain't going to give me this? All right, fine. Like, y'all, I'm going to mess up all your plans right now. That was kind of my thinking. And in these last 2 weeks, Cam Thomas, in his same situation, has already taken the qualifying offer. That's when I started to think, all right, within the week of Cam Thomas taking it, if you're going to take it, take it. You know what I'm saying? And so then Giddey signs a 4-year, $100 million deal. And I think the big separator between Giddey and Kuminga is that Chicago is offering him a guaranteed starting role and a big role. And so that wasn't, that was a little bit of a different situation. But again, this team option thing, it doesn't seem like Kuminga and his agent are going to budge on it. What would the number be on a 1-year deal? 25? Just 1 for 25 right now? How tradable is that come mid-season? Because to me, I've said it over and over, I think the toothpaste is out of the tube. I don't think he can come back and it can be all good. I think that there's just been too many weird things over these 4 years with Kerr and in and out, and the way Kerr does the rotations. The fit is not great right now. As soon as the Jimmy Butler thing was made, unless you're moving Draymond out or something like that. And so I guess my question is, as we get to the 11th hour here and we're still at this stalemate, are the Warriors willing to revisit the 2 trades that we heard that were on the table? Because the Kings and the Suns very much interested in Kuminga. Let me remind you of the reported deals. From Phoenix, it was Royce O'Neal, Nick Richards, and 4 second-round picks. Would they offer up a first? They don't have a first, I don't think, for a few years, right? But would Phoenix, at this point in the season, be willing to cough up more? Not likely. Are the Warriors willing to take less because they haven't been able to come to an agreement? So that was the Phoenix deal, okay? The Kings deal was Malik Monk and a protected first-round pick. Now, would y'all take either of those deals? Me, honestly, at this point, I would take either one of those deals. Malik, we know, is a guy that can create his own offense, something that we desperately need at times. And Nick Richards is a starting caliber center. He gives us depth there. Royce O'Neal is going to plug and play right away. Now, I think the draft capital is where they're going to haggle with it. But to me, at this point, and it's not so, I very much feel how I felt about Ayuk in the Niners situation. Like, Kuminga, you're good, but like, let's not get carried away here. He's not the type of talent that this stalemate should be happening with, in my opinion. And when you combine that with the window that we're dealing with Steph Curry, 1, maybe 2 more years of a window, right? I think you have to just cut your losses and take something back at this point. I don't think you can play with this season because of the window that we're operating in. But again, I ask you, out of those 2 deals, would you take one of those, both? Not at all? You want to give him 30? Do you want to give him like 25 right now, 1 year, and then see what comes up on the trade market? And then the interesting thing would be is, let's say they give him 1 year, $27 million deal. But with the plans of, we all, I think, understand, like, they're going to move him, right? It's a 1-year deal. How do they try to increase his value headed into the deadline? Does it disrupt what we're trying to do in the first 40 games of this season? Are they like forcing him to close and giving him, heavy usage with in mind, like, hey, at the deadline, we're going to flip him for something else? Or do they not, which is more likely, right? The way Kerr's going to coach. And then all of a sudden that $27 million contract looks rough, even if it is 1 year. But maybe then it becomes a dumping contract. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I'm just ready for a resolution. And I'm concerned that Kuminga's spite is just going to hold us hostage till that October 1st deadline. But again, go check out the article. It's a lot of information, and it's kind of clarifying things we already knew. Lacob has been his backer and wants him around. And it's when they say others, you imagine it's Steve and Mike Dunleavy that are like, you know what I mean? And are they willing to revisit these trades? Something has to happen here. But if I were to guess, I think it's going to be a 1-year deal, excuse me, of about 25-ish. And they think, okay, we'll be able to either dump that contract, or if he's producing well, it'll actually be of a value to trade. But I don't think we're going to see some sort of extended 3-year team option deal that's been put out there. Now, I'm going to sneak this in here at the end because I know a lot of y'all don't watch this, but W stuff. I just did a breakdown on the Valkyries' first ever playoff game in Minnesota where it was a beatdown. It was a beatdown. There is levels to this shit. It started off good. They started off hitting threes, pushing transition, right? And I said it, the phrase any given Sunday is reserved for football because on any given Sunday, right, any team can beat any team. You don't really use that in basketball because the talent wins out. You know what I mean? And this Lynx team reminds me of the KD Warriors in a lot of ways where they might play with their food for a little bit, but when they flip the switch, they overwhelm you and discourage you by how much better they are, how complete they are. And that's what you saw in the second half of that game one. But I like this best of 3 first round matchup. Appreciate y'all correcting me in the comments of the last one. But I think it hurts the Valkyries specifically in the chance of stealing a game, because I think that now this urgency of 3-1, the power, the better teams, the true contenders, they're not going to play with their food in the first round. You got to get them out of there, right? And I thought it was a really good first day of W playoffs. The Mercury Liberty series is the one to watch where, AT sells on that layup late. Satu, my goodness, Satu was like 2 of 17. I don't know if you pull her or what, bro, but she was that, it was like when she was 0 of 8, I think I was like, yo, I don't even gonna pull her or what. She just kept launching, right? And so the Mercury blowed the opener at home with the caveat that Stewie hurts her knee. So they go to New York for game 2. That's the series you circle, right? But I think everything else played out the way that we'd expected. The Dream handled the Fever pretty easily. The Aces smacked Seattle around, right? And, our Valkyrie got a welcome to the playoffs moment. But I'm enjoying those. I'll have, some picks for those and some of that coverage. But I'm ready for Warriors training camp. I know a lot of you are ready for Warriors content. It's coming this week. I have a video. My guy had asked about it. You've seen a bunch of Moses Moody workout video over the last 2 weeks. And I want to talk a little bit about his shot, what he's been doing in contrast to what we've seen from Kuminga in his workout videos. What else? How about Terrence Bud Crawford? Man? It was about round 3 when he went back to his corner and he started smirking. It was like, oh, Canelo in trouble here. Crawford looked way too comfortable and confident. About 2 or 3 rounds in, he had felt Canelo pause, and it was like, oh, he likes what's going on. He likes what he sees, and there was no turning back from there, man. One of the GOATs. You got to put him in the GOAT conversation. Incredible. And shout out to Netflix for keeping up the server. I had a nice clean stream of that thing. Fun weekend of sports. Niners, Mac Jones. I don't know. Why does he look like he's built like such a hillbilly, but he stands tall. He stands tall in the pocket and doesn't flinch. I think that's what's important. And his reads are sharp. And so we move to 2-0, and that defense is pretty promising. So I'll be cautiously optimistic about this Niners team with this schedule. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.